one more question.
Yes.
So like your day job has been software for a long time, but obviously
operations system
yes,
DevOps.
Yes. But obviously you have like a quite strong background in hardware as well, right? You're doing I know you kind of downplay yourself in this aspect, but I'm like, dude, you're like making you're making audio amplifier PCBs, like you're making all of these other badges that are like quite complicated. Like don't downplay yourself.
The problem is that I know EEs, professional EEs, right? So I am advanced for a hobbyist, but I've never done this as a paying gig, right? So that's
we can talk a lot about what qualifies you to do different things.
Fair enough.
And experience is the majority of
I have a fair bit of experience. Yes.
So my question though is like, was there one or the other that like came first? Like, did you started doing like these Radio Shack kits when you were in like third grade and stuff like that. So did you were you also like playing around with programming at that point, or did programming like come second, or did one like lead into the other?
I was doomed to be a nerd from birth.
And why did you kind of choose software as like the professional thing?
So
path?
My dad worked for IBM for 32 years. My mom was a network administrator at the local high school. My oldest sister is 9 years older than me, and she bought our family's first computer when I was 3 years old. So we had a TRS-80 Model 1 growing up. That's what I had growing up. My dad brought home a PC Junior. I think I was probably 8 or 9 years old. And so that's when I got into PCs, right? So I've been around computers literally my entire life.
Yeah.
And I've been encouraged to program them and use them. I got into BBSing when I was in 5th grade. I started running my own BBS when I was in 7th grade, right? So I was 12 years old and I was a SysOp of a BBS. At the same time all of that was going on, I was also playing with the 50 and I was doing a lot of Lego, a shit ton of Lego. My parents say that they spent a veritable fortune on Legos, and it was the best investment they ever made.
I know a guy who's selling some Lego if you need some Lego. I got a Lego hookup, by the way, just letting you know.
Just saying. And so
Kevin's selling some of his Lego, if you know.
So, and I got into the Technic Legos very quickly, pretty young. And so there are a lot of motors, and I made, I got little project boxes from Radio Shack and put in switches in there to make my own controllers. I was building robotic arms. I was doing amusement parks, like all of these large scale technical, mechanical Lego kits with motors and lights that I wanted to control. And so I was playing with electrics. Like there was no active electronics, there was no transistors, or from a very young age, right? Playing with lights and batteries and motors and switches and that kind of stuff from a very young age, early elementary school. So I don't know that one really came before the other.
Right.
I've been doing software, writing things in BASIC, on the TRS-80 and on the PC Junior. And I did a bunch of, I actually wrote my own BBS code for a while, but it sucked. So I ended up going back to other people's software. I ran Asgard or Citadel, if anyone knows what those are, for many, many, many years. In fact, technically, I still am running it on Unix now. But because I've been a SysOp, a system operator, since 1987, when I was 12 years old, that kind of led into when I got into college and I found Unix and I found Linux. I was a very early adopter of Linux. My first kernel compile was version 0.99, patch level 13G. Anyway, I've been doing, nobody does. It's okay. I've been doing this for a long ass time. And, but that's kind of like being a SysOp. Right. And so that led into systems engineering and network engineering and running applications. I write code, but I'm not a software developer.
Yeah.
Right. I write a lot of code for microcontrollers. I can do a lot of shell scripting. Historically, I've done Perl. Nowadays, I do Python, that kind of thing. But I'm not an application developer. Right. Yeah. I've never done a mobile app. I've never done a big web application or anything like that. Right. My programs typically top out around 1,000 lines. Like right now, my Secret Squirrel project is probably going to be the biggest single application I've written. Wild guess, probably a couple or 3,000 lines, maybe a little bit more than that. So you say I do software, and yeah, I do, but not like huge
Yeah.
application level software. But I've been doing that kind of stuff pretty much my entire life since I
No.
was a kid. Same with hardware.